Thank you everyone for joining this evening. And I have the fortune and privilege of hosting marketing and digital leaders from some of the most well-known brands in the region. Some homegrown, some international brands, but brands that we're all very familiar with. We'll probably start with a quick round of introductions, 30 seconds maybe. Neeraj?
Hello? Yeah, looks like it's working too. My name is Neeraj and I am representing DLF Brands here. Among various things, DLF is known for real estate, and this part is more of, the like Reliance brands. We bring brands to the country. Some of the brands that we have got in the country, Mother Care, Sunglasses Hut and all. I think the things that I'm going to be talking about today mostly is going to be our own brand, which is Pure Home and Living, which some of you might be aware of. It's a home decor brand and all. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Neeraj.
Hi everyone, I am Kautuk Malviya. I am managing customer experience for Nissan Motor India, and I've been associated with automotive industry for close to 8 years.
Animesh?
Hi, good evening. My name is Animesh. In my current role, I head commercial for Ibis and Ibis Styles Hotels in India, part of a core group of hotels. I have over 2 decade experience on digital marketing and now lately on commercial side, which includes sales, marketing and revenue. And I look forward to interacting with the colleagues out there. It'll be a very interesting session for all of us. I hope so.
Pallavi.
Hi, my name is Pallavi and I'm a petrol head and now an electric person at heart. I've been in automotive for almost more than 18 years now. I feel very passionate about it when the gentleman was talking about OEM and dealers. But I personally feel dealers are your brand. OEMs are just behind the scene. Dealers are people who actually do real work. So I have a lot of respect for the dealers. And right now I head customer experience and digital at the revenue side and the after sales side for Vida, which is electric arm of the Hero Motor Corp group. So I look forward for more questions.
Thank you, Pallavi. Just to kickstart, right, when COVID happened, everyone thought offline's dead. A lot of stories on, the entire customer experience is going to be just digital. There's no one going back to physical stores, physical world at all. And fast forward 3 years, we know none of that has played out, which is good. A lot of experiences are still physical. But I think there's a lot more intersection with physical and digital, right? And I think in the next 15-20 minutes, I want to unpack a few things on this entire Phygital interactions. And I thought probably we'll start with you, Pallavi. How's this playing out for you, the entire Phygital experience?
I think it was before COVID it actually started. It's especially in the automotive side. There are certain players like eCommerce, but automotive is a lot emotional. It's an emotional buy when you want to pick up a scooter or a motorcycle or a car. But the journeys have changed. Everything you've done online, you've researched, you've read reviews. The only thing you want to do physically is actually picking up your, the physical manifestation of the product you saw online and the experience you want on the after-sales side. And even if you look at mature markets, right? You look at Norway today, you look at Europe, you look at US, they both exist. You have to have a touch point which is physical because ultimately we're all human beings, right? We've not become robots. We want that touch and feel with the dealer. We want to know where our bike is serviced. I ride motorcycles. I sit down and clean my bikes on my own because I think there are certain things you've imagined as a child. And as human beings, you want to experience those things. And what COVID has done, I think, post-COVID is that you look at festivals today, right? People are going to music festivals more than they went before because everybody's thinking one life experience, buy the most expensive car, buy the most expensive watch, do everything online, but you want to touch it, you want to feel it. I think that's where marketers or brand or creators, influencers have come together and understood that whatever you create, there has to be an amalgamation of both. And that's why omni-channel is, I think, the way to go. At Vida, our marketing team does a fantastic job because with electric scooters, because everything is technology, through data, through error codes, you can fix your scooter on your own. But then by the end of the day, any product which is mechanical will fail. No product is perfect. No product, no watch, no shoe, nothing is perfect. You have to fix it somewhere, or you become so good that you can fix it yourself, which is unlikely for everything in life. So I think the amalgamation of both is important, but you cannot, as marketers or creators or digital people, ignore any of these aspects. They both coexist, and they have to coexist. So that's my take.
Great. And picking up from Pallavi's thoughts, maybe Animesh, I think, like she rightly said, people are craving for a lot more of experiences, going out a lot more. Are you seeing that play out, and how's the entire, digital part of it playing out in your business?
It's an interesting take on hospitality and tourism industry, especially for the hotels. Unlike a lot of products you see today, for hotels, you need to consume it offline. You cannot consume the product online. You can research, you can get inspiration, but eventually what you have to do, you have to go and experience the product offline. Now, you talked about COVID. I think hospitality and travel industry was one of the worst hit industry. Trust me, it was the most difficult time. But what has happened, like Pallavi just said and mentioned, I think the rebound for this industry has been phenomenal. And from a distribution point of view, what has changed the landscape, at least for the industry? Just to give you some numbers, prior to COVID, I think a lot of distribution was still offline. There's still travel agent, and offline was a major piece of distribution. But right now, as we speak, the industry, more than 50 to 60% distribution is happening online. And it's very important for industries like a typical brick and mortar industry, which is not a digital first industry, to take this digital route. Omni-channel has been the way forward. Today, consumers are everywhere. They are doing multiple things. So talking to them, right time, right place, right communication is very difficult unless you have a system or you have a data, everything plugged in together. To some extent, I'll actually say that marketing is no longer art. It's a lot of science and data. So MarTech, I think, is eventually the right way to get the consumer hooked on. And industry like ours actually have taken on this journey, and we see a substantial consumer engagement and the return on these channels.
Great. Kautuk, I think a few years back when one of the e-commerce portals was trying to sell a car online, I was like, what are these guys even on? Who's going to buy a car online? Has that changed? Are people now willing to make that investment online, make that purchase decision online?
So I would say that, while everybody goes out and does their research online, when it comes to purchase decision, I think in India at least, this is my experience, that people still prefer to go to the store or to the showroom to make that decision. But at the same time, I think what is happening online is that people are now going ahead and, at least in the car segment, making an online transaction in order to book the car. So while they're not completing the whole transaction, a part of it is being made online. So that is something which is definitely happening. I will quote one example. I was before Nissan, I was also with Renault. And in Renault, we launched this product called Renault Quid, which was a phenomenal product and did really well in the market. So when we launched that product, at that point in time, we were thinking that, in order to reach out to the audiences, because we did not have a huge network. So we thought that, online is the way to go. And in order to garner bookings, we made, the first automotive app at that point in time. And we wanted to take bookings through that. But the challenge or the question people were asking us was internally that, till now, nobody has been able to succeed in order to get bookings online. But, with the right product in hand and right approach, right way to reach out to the audiences, we did that. And we received close to almost 20,000 bookings through the app, which is, I think, still the benchmark in the industry. So It is possible, although, as I said, complete transaction might still not happen, but at least people are willing to make that step forward now.
That is indeed a big number. We'll probably start with Neeraj now. We'll pick a brand, like you said, I think Pure Home and Living.
Yeah.
What's the intersection between the offline stores that you have and the online experience that you give the consumers?
So quite a bit actually. So for us, I think all stages of journey sort of is omni per se, right? From a pre-purchase research perspective, people browse through the website, people browse through the portals, e-commerce portals and all that, and get a feel of the product and all, right? So that there we are playing a role. During the purchase also, even if the buying is happening at the stores, because many of my products are like, say cushion covers, people would really want to see the actual shade of the things, the best efforts of the photographers and all still doesn't convinces them. So they do go to store and, try it out there, right? Even then, they actually will be browsing my website from the store per se too, right? So during the purchase also, there's quite a bit of interaction. And post-purchase, obviously, quite a bit of interaction, which happens is through online. So somebody like, home decor as a category and all, for me, it is very, very sort of critical for me to be present in both omni way and all. So, so while I am also an offline first brand, we had stores and, like you mentioned just before the, discussion, you would want to go to store before you actually try out my product because, there's this,
Feel of the
there's a
product.
feel of the thing, right? And people do want to have that. And so many a times they come, they ask, they inquire, and they actually go and transact in the store, right? So it's pretty common with the Pure per se. Having this enabling this whole journey for them and ensuring that it is seamless and we can completely sort of monitor that part is very, very critical to us, and hence the Omni or Phygital is kind of playing a key role for us. Yeah.
Makes sense. Kautuk, I'll come back to you. I think you mentioned, a lot of research happens online. Part of the purchase process could be happening online, but the rest of it is completed offline. How do you marry all of this customer journey right now? What kind of data points are you sort of able to capture, and are you able to stitch that entire offline plus online journey well enough?
So, the world we are living in today, this is definitely something which is possible. There are solutions which are letting the brands making this happen. So definitely this is a possibility. Although in the past it was a big challenge because customers, especially in the automotive segment, they used to come research online, but when they used to go to the store again, they have for a person sitting in the showroom, it was a completely new experience for him, or he's a completely new person. He does not know what he had done when he was back online. So now I think while these solutions which are available, wherein you can capture the entire journey of the user, how he is researching or what he is researching, how much he is researching, how much time he is spending online, and then transferring that information about, as you say, complete customer 360-degree view of that customer to the to the showroom, and the sales consultant looks at it. He knows how to pitch or talk to that customer. So that is certainly, again, a solution towards which we as a brand are also working towards. And the most important thing in order to achieve that is to, first of all, put together both the data points, have a common thread between these two data points, which are offline and offline, identify that, marry these two data points together and give a complete picture, not just to the person sitting in the showroom, but also people who are working in order to target the customer in the back office, and trying to understand who is going to be the right customer to target that. So we are doing all of that now, and I think as we proceed, we will probably reach up to that point where whether a customer comes online or offline, we would know him much better than we used to know earlier.
Makes sense. Pallavi, I think I'll come to you next. So we'll probably get one more mic if possible. Okay. Yeah, so I think with Vida, it's obviously been a lot more digital first initiative. You've got a lot more interaction points about the customers. And you also mentioned dealers are like an absolutely critical part of your overall business, right? Is that being leveraged well enough now in terms of all the digital touch points, in terms of providing a better experience to the customers?
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, great. So I think, when you were talking about, I personally feel that systems and tools have to enable. And often as marketers or business leaders, we think we can buy a tool and the tool will do the magic. The tool never does any magic. The magic is still the logic in your head. Because every industry, every company, its purpose is very different. Somebody is chasing sales, somebody is chasing customer experience, a better net promoter score. Everybody has different metrics to follow, right? So I think, and I personally feel that, and especially at Vida, what we've done is because it's an electric scooter, you have so many data points which come. Now, what data point can do what for your business and for your customers is what we are trying to leverage. So we are very clear on you can't have more than 5 KPIs to track. When the tool is tracking too many KPIs is when you're confusing the hell out of the dealer, yourself, and the management. So I think because we are so new, we're like a startup, we've been very, very clear in what we want to track. And primarily, it is to do with customer experience. It is to do with giving a great product and a product experience. And anything with that, in my view, goes back in what we've built is a great CRM system. I think if you have a great CRM system, you can manage funnel, you can manage profiling, you can manage dealers, and the same system has to run through the dealer network as well. You can't have a separate CRM system and the dealer has a separate CRM system because that never works. So many times, you buy an expensive car or a motorcycle, you go to the dealer doesn't even know that you have such an expensive car you've bought before. Sir, which car do you have? You're like, I've bought 2 cars from you already. So that's something, I feel is very fundamental to high indulgence products. And that goes back to having a great CRM tool to track anything. And then digital comes in. If you don't even know how many customers have come in, how much they have bought from you, it's a boat which is going to fall anyways. So I think what I'm trying to get at is that any business, any startup, it is very important to define what your KPIs are. Once the purpose is clear of what you want to drive, the tool will then help you to drive that. So we've been very, very clear because we've all come from different backgrounds, technology, auto, e-commerce, that there is so much rich experience that we are able to create that one single dashboard or a scorecard, which then it's not about marketing or it's not about sales. It's about how data and technology can drive customer experience basis very singular KPIs. So I think that's, to me, very important, not just in automotive, but any business.
Yeah, great points indeed. And talking about people, Animesh, you're in the business of people. In terms of the services, probably India is one of the toughest market to operate in as well. How are you leveraging all of these digital touch points and data to provide better experience to someone who's coming to stay at your properties?
I'll answer this in 2 parts. And I had the luxury of being part of the industry from 2004 when I joined a startup at that point of time. So I've seen how marketing has evolved from an SMS, emailer, to an app notification, to WhatsApp, and we went to multiple service provider. I don't know how many of you do that today, but we had one for maybe emailer, one for SMS, one for notification and stuff. And there were multiple communication going on to this. But like he mentioned that there are tools now, that piece is broadly solved. So if you have an online business and not an offline, I think you're still there with one solution where you can manage the customer journey end to end, right? That's relatively easy. Get hold of a product, look at journey, define the journey, put your trigger point and measure it. And it's like a video game. You put up and down, it's science, right? This is working, this is not working, let's change this. But the challenge becomes when it comes in offline, right? And the offline industry, it's not a technology first industry, right? they are working with legacy system, with legacy data, with lot of data. And for our industry, unlike we get a lot of repetitive customers. So there's a lot of data points. So if a customer is coming, we know his preference, which flow he wants to, what are his food items, blah, 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 and there is so on. So to give an perfect customer experience, you should have the online data and offline data. Have we solved it 100%? No, not yet. But we are working towards it. I think this has to be broken into two parts. Get your online, where your communication, everything under one roof, and you get all the data point in one. Then get your offline and marry them together. As a marketer, she did mention, a dream is like a single dashboard, a single customer persona, where you really kind of, it's like one screen, one view. You're able to see transactional history. You want to see behavioral, what is the source of acquisition, how the retention, what campaign worked on them, what did not work, everything, right? So to honestly, it's work in progress. But getting the data together and all under one roof, it's a very important. If you can work towards it and manage the system, I think you should go for it.
Makes sense. Neeraj, your thoughts on where you are in that journey?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been doing that for a while now. So I think two things, right? So first one, in the first step of the journey, we integrated our loyalty CRM program, right? So it's pretty much now fungible in that sense. Whether you are buying online or offline, you can redeem anywhere and you can use that, right? So that was the starting point of it, where we integrated the complete buying, past buying, and their the information around that, right? And the second part, which we have unified and which is going out today, which is common to, or I am not agnostic of completely from where the customer is coming from, is the offers and the the new product launches, and also messages are like, ABCD has come in, buy to any of my nearest store with the store locator, or go online and buy from a website, right? So these two big part has been unified. Now the leverage or the when I want to say cross sell or buy upsell and all that from my CRM, those messages are also, you've been buying A, why don't try out B and go to my store, nearest store locator, or go online. So that kind of journey has been integrated and is happening. Well, they bring their own advantage. There are shortfalls also in that, and probably we'll cover down the line in this session. Yeah.
Great. We'll do a bit of a rapid fire maybe in the interest of time now. If you were to have one advice for someone who's thinking about setting up the entire offline plus online experience, and you're setting up a new consumer brand, if you were to start with one advice or one challenge that they should be aware of, what would that be?
Yeah, so continuing on what I was saying, I mean, see, I'll tell you mine, right? I mean, it's a practical thing, right? I have a store in Khan Market and I have a store in Ludhiana. Now, I'm not doubting anything, but this is a different profile of people who go to each of these stores, right? My cost structure is very different, right? If I talk to my Phygital guy, I'll say, during an offer time, the minimum order value is pretty high in Khan Market, so offer should be above XK. Ludhiana guy, I'll say half of XK is good enough for me, right? Now, what do we do? Because as I said, I'm making single communication going out to them and telling them you can do it online too. How do I segregate now? I can't, right? Khan Market also comes to online. Ludhiana customer also comes to online. How do you address that? It's an ongoing challenge. I don't have a solution for that, but these are the things that one is going to face when we hear, when you go really advanced in that journey of assuming that there's the same customer, same, fulfillment channel and all. And then you say, okay, online will be lower than both of the two, and some such things will happen. So, yeah, and then, as I said, physical retail, you have a radius and you can map your offering and you can map your inventory to that. When you integrate everything, when you go omni, those boundaries are gone, right? So one has to be really, people have gone SMU ways and all, but there are challenges. Another, in that, practical one we have seen, everybody, I mean, I was in fashion earlier, now it's home decor, but we have all end of season sales, people love it, right? How do you now do that in an omni world, right? Because I am online, I need to be in sync with my offline offerings. But I'm on marketplaces too, and they don't listen to anybody. Mantra will start 2 months before, and then you have Ajio and Naiga coming in. Can I start the offer that in advance? No. Phygital guy will say, no way. I mean, I can't give discounting that period in time. And Mantra will say, my whole traffic is coming in now. How can you be not giving me something? How do you address those? And that's the online challenges that you need to address when you go omni. When you think the customer is same, when you think the offering has to be integrated, when you think the product or the you know the styles and design should be common. Yeah, so everybody will figure out their own solution based on their brand and their own categories. But yeah, one has to sort of think of those challenges.
Makes sense. Kautuk, same question.
So I would advise that if somebody who is going to create a platform for amalgamating the data between offline and online, what he should do is first of all spend some time for identifying the right solution for his organization. I mean, he might go into the market and he will find a plethora of solutions which will do, individual tasks. Some might be able to cater to his needs to communicate to the customer via, messaging. Some might be able to communicate via emails. And there would be other solutions as well. But I would suggest that he should look for that one solution that does it all. It might take a little bit of time to identify that right solution. But I think it is worth spending that, because once you have that right solution in place, then I think you only need to understand how you will use the data that you have coming from both online and offline, and have various use cases in order to ensure that you provide the best customer experience back to your customers.
Got it. Animesh, slightly different question, but what's that one offline plus online or omni-channel campaign in your career which gave like results beyond your imagination? What's that something that worked really well for you?
A combination of offline and online. In my career, the first part was primarily online. So second part, it's related to hotel industry. It's what had been done. If you see hotels, when they sell rooms, and apart from rooms, they sell halls like this, for weddings and social events. I think one of the things which traditionally was done was the sales team used to go and pitch this to corporates and different potential clients. It was a typical offline model to kind of get in conversion. I think what happened with this whole world moving on to digital, we realized that there are a lot of people now, they just don't want to go and see a hotel initially. First, they want to understand, does it meet their requirement? Is this hall size big enough and stuff? And then make the offline effort. So I think putting a campaign together for specific needs, which is a larger requirement, social events. What happened to get a very qualified potential leads, which then it saved time both for consumer and for us. What happened once you got an online campaign and the lead, then eventually it was passed on whether to a sales team and offline, and eventually what happened was we were able to organize a site visit in a much more structured way. An average size of a meeting hall, of course, the ticket size is much larger than a room size. So there, the return on a combination of both online and offline in this industry was phenomenal.
Got it. Pallavi, with the experience of Vida now, if you were to look back last 1 year, what's that one marketing campaign that worked really well for you from the overall end-to-end consumer experience standpoint?
You've put me on a spot. 1 year is, a very short span of time. It's like babies just started to crawl. But, I can give you other example. In general, I think the question you asked before was a very interesting question. Maybe if I can give a take on
Let's
that.
do that, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, the advice or I can't give an advice. I think we're all learning. But I think from my point of view would be, you have to stick to your core. What does that really mean? It means that whatever product or solution you're building, you have to be very clear for what customer you're building it and what purpose does it solve for the organization. I think that is very fundamental to making a business successful. So I would, and I'll give you one example, I think two examples which I go back to all the time. One is Tesla and second is Blue Turquoise or Third Wave. Two very, very high indulgence, and coffee, which everybody wants today, or chayos. Everybody in India wants to drink a chai. But what is they've opened stores. Tesla started primarily, even 80% of their sales today happens digitally. But what they did was that the Model S, which is the most expensive model, they said, we will make you experience online, but buy offline. Because there are certain things you cannot experience online. With coffee, it's the same, right? We're all chai or coffee lovers here. And what Third Wave and Blue Turquoise has done, everything you can experience. You can even see how the coffee pours in. I'm a big coffee lover, so how the coffee pours in. But you want to experience the coffee, right? So you want to go to the store. So all I'm trying to say, and you look at Royal Enfield today, right? What Royal Enfield was today and where they are today is because they've stuck to the core. And people still want to buy it, right? So 80% of Royal Enfield sales is happening digital. Is with people still, when they want to ride motorcycles, they want to ride with people. I want to ride with you. I don't want to ride digitally, right? So there are, what I'm trying to get at is that stay very, very close and passionate to your core. Why do you exist as a brand, as a solution, as an identity, is when consumers will stay close to you. And I think that if anybody can crack, you've hit the nail.
Wow. Thank you for that amazing piece of advice. And I guess it can't get better than that. On that high note, we'll probably call this a wrap. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And hopefully this was a useful conversation. Thanks. Thank you, everyone.